So welcome to part 4 of the BRR strategy. So the first 3 parts, you've seen the buy stage, the refurbish stage, and then a property that's just about to be put out for rent and then shortly refinanced. So what's been kind of the learnings from this strategy, and what can you really learn now you've went through that point? Well, obviously the first point in the video, which is the buy point, is all about getting the correct house, understanding what house you're actually buying and what your plan is for it. Obviously with the BRR video, what you're looking to do is find a house that is below market value that does need refurbishment work. See, within that house there was a lot of work needed, and we're actually currently in the stage of putting that work through. The whole idea here is buying the property at a value where you know you're going to get significant difference between your purchase price and what the ceiling price is of the property when it's done. You need that there because you're not quite too sure how the refurb is going to go. You always have a good idea of what the costs are going to be, but quite often there's going to be elements that come up which you're not expecting. That's very common in property and very common in refurbishments. So you need that gap of where you've got the difference between your purchase price, where your refurb element will come in here, and then where your ceiling price is. So that's kind of when you're looking to do that. Then the next stage, as you saw, was we were going through the refurbishment. This is kind of where I've touched on some elements. That's where you're really handing it over to your builders, and you really need a good, competent build team who know what they're doing and who you can trust to actually complete it, either hopefully on time and hopefully on budget. These things usually have delays, and that can be common. But often when you have a good build team, they will understand how they can improve the property, how long it's going to take, and ways you might not have actually thought of, and that's really important. But this refurb stage is, you're actually probably not as involved in it as much as you would like to be. You would love to be on there helping out doing things, but really leave that to your team. You should be at this point here, sitting back, maybe looking for another project to do possibly, and just really making the final decisions on designs of stuff. Because you're going to see your builders are going to be in there tracking wires and doing X, Y, Z, and that doesn't really need your input. Now, I would advise, call down the property, find out what's going on, build that relationship, and maybe give some guidance where it's needed or answer questions from your build team. So those elements there is really important. And then the last part of the video, which is really sort of the rent and refurb stage of your BRR process, is where, again, that's handed over often to your estate agents, your property managers, and their whole job is to get you the price that you want. So you'll have had that conversation, you'll have done your research, whether it's £900, £750, £1,000 or more, that you should have a good idea what that's going to rent for. One of the big important parts, which a lot of investors I find actually don't do, is they don't actually make sure their estate agents collectively gather comments from tenants. And the reason why I think this is really important, and it's something which you should really look to do if you're in property, is then you understand what to do in your next refurb. You understand what your customers and potential customers are actually thinking. And if you're involved in business at all, you know customer feedback, how important it is. So use your tenant, use your viewers as their feedback on your property as a guidance of what works, what could be an issue in the future, and what you can maybe even do better in your next refurb. Some comments are just going to be not fair, not true, but listen, these things happen in life and you just have to take it all with a pinch of salt, but use it as a good guidance for going forward. So you've seen that there, and then usually in about 6 months when your property's been on land registry, that's when you're able to then refinance, pull your money out, and maybe move on to the next project. But that should be with all the experience. So this is really the stage where you're evaluating it. You're looking at what you've done, how it's went, and everything else. So that's really important in the BRR process, is to understand the 3 stages that we talked about. So that's your buy, your refurbish, your refinance / rent stage. So understanding all of this is really, really key to making sure that it's successful, and you're then able to move capital over to your next project and repeat the process over and over again, helping you build your portfolio with a smaller block of cash. Now this is again where a lot of investors mess up at one of these stages here. They either at the buy stage pay too much and they don't allow themselves to have the gap, And then what that will then have on is the knock-on effect through the process of then when you go to refurb it, you're not able to pull as much cash out as you would like. At the refurb stage is where they've underestimated how much the build cost is going to be, or the build team hasn't been as high quality as it should have been. And then again, what that has the negative element of is it doesn't allow, means build costs and building time runs over, which then inevitably costs you more money, which again means less capital you're able to pull out. Again, the very last one is your rent and your refinance stage. This again simply comes down to, have you done your research? Have you looked at what the prices were around the market in your local area that you could get? Is the ceiling price £900, but you were thinking you could get 1,000? Or is it 1,000 and you're going to get that 1,000? So understanding that rent stage is very important. If you underestimate, again, you're going to get less money long term, and you're also going to get less money again when you refinance. So understanding each of these 3 stages and understanding how the knock-on effects can impact further down the line, and trying to find ways to mitigate these, and making sure you've done your research, you've spent your time looking at the right people and getting the right people in. So this is part 4 of our buy, refurbish, refinance stage. Hopefully this has been a great help. It's been really good to do. We're going to look to do more series like this here, of looking at different elements within property and how I look to use it. So for me, I use this BRR strategy. It's my main strategy. This is what I've used over and over again, and it's something that I will continue to use, and the knowledge from this in everything I do within property. So hopefully this has been a great help for you. I really think it's been a fun series to do, and it's been making sure that I understand and the basics and try to completely master the basics, which is something I don't ever think I will fully do, but something I'm always going to try and stay top of. So again, thank you for watching. If you're interested in more videos like this, please leave a comment below. We've also got a load of good videos back in our history, which I think you'll love to watch there. So thank you very much. Cheers. Bye.